Brew Strong is brought to you by Blickman Engineering, home of the top-tier brewing stand. Visit them online at blickmanengineering.com.
It's time for the beer radio you've been looking for. This is the show that dispels myths, tackles the toughest topics, and makes no apologies for geeking out on beer. Hosted by two guys that drink before they think. Jamil Zainashev and John Palmer. This is Brew Strong.
Hey, howdy. Hey, my brewing brothers and sisters.
Greetings, cretins.
Who the hell is that? You see how it's done there, Scott? You see the kind of slack-jawed, lackluster.
I didn't hit the E's hard enough. Greetings. Greetings.
Greetings. Yeah, greetings. Greetings.
Got to get some enthusiasm behind it, you know?
Uh-huh. Yeah, that was the problem. Yeah. Yeah, we had to do shows without John.
Yeah, that blew, huh?
Last couple of weeks. Well, you were off at, I couldn't remember where the hell you were. You were at the MBAA
Yeah, I was at
Austin?
the Master Brewers Conference.
Austin?
Annual conference.
Austin?
Yes, in Austin, Texas.
Oh, there you go. So I probably said Argentina or something, but hey, I wasn't that far. It's south from here.
Yes.
I told you it was south.
Yep.
So I couldn't have been that far off.
East, southeast. But, yeah, awesome time there. Austin's a great city, and had a great nightlife down there. They're starting up their Halloween festivities a week early. So there is quite a few costumes to see out on 6th Avenue, which is like their main drag. Lots of bars and so on. And but the conference itself was really interesting. Saw a lot of our mutual friends there. Mitch Steele, Vinny, guys from Coronado Brewing. Who else did I see there? Lots and lots of folks we know from our years in the industry here. And so a lot of good technical papers. Very interesting. And I got to talk too. That was the nice part.
And you talked about water?
Yeah. Talked about water. They did a nice program where they talked about brewing fundamentals. They had a series of water talks. Deb Serta was there, Rick Brundage, and a few others, where we talked from, essentially the outline for the water book that Colin and I put together. I mean, starting at the source water, how do you treat your source water? What do you look for in terms of impurities? And up through, brewing water treatment and adjustment, which is what I talked about. They also had top series of papers on wastewater and different wastewater techniques. So really useful to everybody in the brewing industry.
I'm wondering if we don't need to do another Waterganza where we talk more about water treatment or something.
Yeah, I suspect we do. It'd be good to get Colin in for those too, as well as some other industry people that really focus on, say, wastewater treatment. Because I know a lot of brewers at the conference were, they're saying, yeah, we're growing, we're going to be over 100,000 barrels this year, and who was it? Some brewer. I'm trying to remember which brewery that was. But anyway, they said that, their water bill went from $8,000 a month to $32,000 a month when the city finally took notice of their discharge.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And so they had to start making some adjustments in there, how they were dumping and so on.
We're still working out our discharge. I mean, the city and the sanitation district wants to work with us and figure out, exactly what we're discharging and how and what the strengths are. And
yeah.
So they haven't started charging us yet, but we're this bill building up.
I bet it will.
It's it's very nice of them to want to get it right, but there comes a point where they're going to charge us for all this, and it's going to be something stunning, I think.
Yeah, it's the high BOD that comes from breweries, the biological oxygen demand. You have a lot of yeast and spent or weak carbohydrates. What we think are weak carbohydrates going down the drain, but when all that hits the water treatment plant, it can overwhelm their capacity for treating BOD. And the next thing you know that they've got, they've killed off their bugs that do their digestion and water treatment, and all of a sudden they've got to stop, stop accepting waste from everyone while they restart their cultures and stuff.
Yeah, so interesting for us, they were saying that it really isn't the BOD. Oh. It is really more that you have a high BOD over a certain point. It doesn't matter if it's massively higher or just a little bit higher. The fact that you're over a certain threshold triggers a different price. And I guess a lot of these places work that way. So it doesn't matter if you're hugely over or just a little over. What matters is the volume of wastewater you're putting down the drain. So even though the fact that on most of the days we're like rinsing the floors and, doing minimal stuff, the fact on certain days that we do have high BOD triggers a different price, and then all the water that you send down is calculated at that higher rate because there is a day where you go over the threshold, and the threshold's fairly low. It's, you're either just pooping in your toilet or you're, doing everything else. So that's where the cost comes in. And they were saying, the way to actually cut your bill is to send less water down the drain. They go, it doesn't matter which water it is, just don't send as much down the drain. And the other thing is, all these places calculate, they have no way of measuring the outflow. So what they do is measure the amount of water that goes into the building, and they consider that all going down the drain. Oh, wow. So that's a big difference. Yeah. Right. So what and the reason they're working with us is because I told them, I said, we send a lot of our water out in packages. Beer is mainly water, and the water that comes in, the water that remains in that package, that's going out the door. It's not going down the drain, or it goes out as steam, or it goes out held in the spent grains that the farmer feeds to his cattle. There's a lot of ways the water leaves the building other than through the drains. And they're like, yeah, absolutely right. We'll if you meter that water, we'll deduct that from the amount going down the drain. So I set up a meter on our processed water, and I still need to set up a meter for the main incoming water. But anyways, I think it's pretty fascinating. I bet you we could get a number of shows for a water Ganza together. And as I said, we're going to cover your Q&A questions. If you have questions for us at Brew Strong, you can send them at brewstrong@thebrewingnetwork.com, and eventually we'll get around to them. Now, what we started doing before and we'll still do some where we're just collecting random subjects together and doing a show like the previous couple, but we're going to also start collecting questions together for topics. Like today, we're going to cover water, and so they're all Q&A questions around water. And I think that's makes for an interesting show because we get questions where things we wouldn't have necessarily thought of to ask. So, that's right. And it helps you, the listener, especially when it comes time to download an archive, to find a particular show that may be talking about what you're interested in, rather than trying to skim through several. Right. Although all the shows are great. And I'll tell you, one of the reasons they're great is because we have great sponsors like Blickman Engineering. Check them out. BlickmanEngineering.com. Blickman with two N's and then like a B and an L, CH. Check them out. They got lots of interesting and innovative products for your brew day. Everything from great top-tier hop rocket power driven goodies to
electric brewing systems too.
Oh yeah, right. They're getting into the electric brewing. They're always inventing new stuff, which I find fascinating. I like having a sponsor that's always doing something new because it's fun, it's exciting, it's interesting. And then when you go hang out with them at things like the Homebrewers Conference, you get to see all that cool stuff. So check them out. Check them out on their website. Check them out at your local homebrew shop. They sell all this stuff through the homebrew shop, so you can go to your homebrew shop and ask them to see some of the Blickman stuff. Very cool. All right. Like I said, today we're going to cover water as a topic, and I'll tell you this. Why don't we take a short break, and we'll come back. We'll get right into the first question about water after this.
When you hear Blickman Engineering, think innovation, passion, quality, and customer service. Blickman gear is designed by brewers to give you a sense of pride in your equipment. At Blickman, they know what makes brewing a pain and build gear that makes it fun. Like the intuitive beer gun, a completely different approach to filling bottles. The Therminator Wort Chiller, a new take on a plate chiller that's sized for flow, performance, and the high groundwater temps homebrewers face every day. The Brewmometer, a brilliant weldless thermometer design with brewing parameters right on the dial. The Autosparge, ultimate simplicity for preventing an overflow or running your mash tun dry. And much more, like the modular top-tier brewing stand, conical fermenters, and their Boilermaker brew pots. With more cutting-edge equipment coming soon, keep up with the latest from Blickman at blickmanengineering.com and stay on the cutting edge. Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making.
Hey, my brewing brothers and sisters, this is Jamil Zainashev, and I love a bold, hoppy beer, one that spits resin in your face and makes you cry uncle. There are a lot of great hoppy beers out there, but at Heretic, we want to make something as bold, dank, and resiny as possible. We use hops at every chance we get, including multiple dry hop additions. The result is Heretic Evil Cousin. This light golden, 8% Imperial IPA has an easy malt character that helps take the edge off the massive bittering, but it takes a back seat to the in-your-face hop character. We make sure this beer finishes dry so the hops can jump out and slam you in the taste buds. If you can't get enough hoppy goodness, Evil Cousin is your cup of tea. Cheers.
That's it. I've had it. I am never putting hops in my beer again.
What? Why?
It's just too ridiculous. Insane prices, stupid contracts, high shipping costs, crappy selection.
Dude, you need Nico Brew.
Nico Brew will rock your f***ing face right the f*** off your f***ing skull. $5 shipping to all 50 states, plus fantastic international rates get you low prices on Nico Brew's great selection of hops and more. Whether you're a home brewer, a pro brewer, or a homebrew shop owner, Nico Brew can get you the hops you need in increments big and small, single orders, spot buys, or full contracts. And there's only one place to join the uber special secret elite bare bones club where you'll get the best deals anywhere.
Holy shit.
NicoBrew.com. NIKOBREW. Nico Brew, your bare bones buddy in the brewing business. What does craft beer mean to you? Is it a delicious way to support your town's local brewer? Or perhaps it's the perfect beverage to pair with those delicious meals at your favorite restaurant and at home. Regardless of whether you're thinking of pints or pairings, pilsners or porters, craftbeer.com is the site where craft beer lovers come together to learn and share. Craftbeer.com is brought to you by the Brewers Association and celebrates the best of American craft beer and its brewers. Craftbeer.com is the best place to find craft beer events, recipes, great feature stories, the most up-to-date brewery listings, and resources for your next beer tasting or dinner, like style guidelines, pairing mats, and charts. Get the inside scoop on new beer releases and special events from today's craft beer insiders, and chime in to share your own knowledge, perfect pairings, road trips, recipes, and more. Craftbeer.com, celebrating the best of American beer.
Back to the two guys that know how to turn beer into beer. This is Brew Strong.
All right, we're back. We're doing a little mini Ganza here. We're doing all your Q&A questions about water. And John, Matt from Madison, Wisconsin, he was asking, he writes, assuming that hydrogen carbonate ions react with an acid to get carbon dioxide and water, is it safe to assume that when you have water with high alkalinity, approximately 350 ppm, you can add an acid to a point where all the HCO3 has been converted to H2O and CO2?
Yes.
If using lactic acid, is there a point where alkalinity could be brought down to zero and you wouldn't have any lactic sour flavors? Will it start to show up before or after the HCO3 has been used up?
Well, yeah, it depends on how much alkalinity you have in the water. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you can attack this two ways. One, you can say, okay, I've got, as he says, 200 or 300 parts per million of total alkalinity in the water, and so you add an equivalent amount of lactic acid. Basically, in the case of total alkalinity as calcium carbonate, you would divide that number by 50 if it's as ppm of calcium carbonate. You divide it by 50, that's the equivalent weight, and get the number of equivalents. So say 300 divided by 50 equals 6. So you got 6 equivalents. You would therefore neutralize that by adding 6 equivalents of acid. How do you know how much an equivalent of acid is? Well, what you do is you create a 1 normal concentration solution of that acid. A normal is it's a chemical unit that describes 1 equivalent per liter. So, in other words, that 6 equivalents that you're trying to neutralize, you would add, say, 6 liters of a 1 normal solution to your mash, or in the case of, since we're talking about milliequivalents and parts per million, it'd be 6 milliliters of acid in this case per 1 liter of water to neutralize that acidity, that alkalinity. So that's the basic methodology. You're adding an equivalent amount of acid to counter the equivalent amount of alkalinity in the water. Now, the second part of the question, does it affect the flavor? That depends on your personal taste to a large extent. There have been a couple of different taste studies on lactate and lactic acid. Generally, the threshold for most people is in the 300 to 400 ppm range. So I don't know what the equivalent weight of lactic acid is at the moment, but basically, if you replace, the alkalinity with lactic acid, you will sooner or later hit a concentration where you may taste it.
Well, and is the, as far as the equations go and the mathematics of the situation. I'm sure that this is all true.
Mm-hmm.
However, is it a perfect process or an imperfect process where you're adding this acid and perhaps not all of it is used up in dissociating, or the water and the CO2
well, theoretically, it should be 1-to-1.
Theoretically,
yeah. So, but the reaction kinetics are slow. In other words, you add the acid, and it takes time for all of that calcium carbonate to dissolve and change state from carbonate to bicarbonate to carbonic acid, and then break down from carbonic acid into carbon dioxide and water. The agitation of the water to drive off the carbon dioxide will definitely...
Also, you'd need to, circulate the water to make sure that, all the ions are, come in contact with what they need to come in contact with in order to make... So I mean that's another aspect to this problem. So where you would have to agitate the water, get thorough mixing, drive off the carbon dioxide so it didn't stick around. Conceivably, if it was a sealed container, you'd change the pH and reduce all that bicarbonate. But if the carbon dioxide didn't have anywhere to go, it just dissolved right back in, potentially. So, it would hit some sort of equilibrium, wouldn't it?
It would.
You'd get some sort of a balance, and that's what I'm saying. It isn't fully one way or the other. It's there's some imperfection in the system there.
Right. Yeah.
I think that's why when people do these things, that's why another reason why you end up tasting, some sourness or
some aspect of that lactic taste. Yeah. I mean, and you don't have to use lactic. You can use, most modern breweries, or I should say most commercial breweries, use phosphoric acid because it has, much more neutral flavor.
Right.
The thing you run into with phosphoric is that you have the potential to precipitate the calcium that's in the water as calcium phosphate or calcium apatite, actually, and which can be annoying because you typically want that calcium in there for good, beer clarity and et cetera. So,
okay. Well, and for homebrewers, you can get phosphoric and you can get lactic. It's just, I think it's easier to get a higher concentration of lactic for homebrewers for some reason versus phosphoric. And we can get phosphoric. We're using phosphoric, but 75% phosphoric is not something they're going to sell at the homebrew shop. So
you can buy 10% phosphoric at your brew shops, and there's tables in the water book that show how much to use to neutralize or to create a 1 normal solution, or to how much that will neutralize, how many equivalents that will neutralize. So all those equations are in there with examples.
Cool. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Slackerlack writes, dog meat and home slice. So I am clearly dog meat. So you must be home slice.
Yeah. I wonder, is that like...
Homeboy and dog meat. Homeboy is Chris White. And I've always been dog meat. So you are now home slice.
Isn't that like a fried sausage patty? What's that called?
What, home slice or dog meat?
Yeah, home slice. I mean,
if you're eating dog meat, I think you need to. Get more food stamps or something. I don't know.
Seems like I had that in Denver one time. Anyway,
I had 50% pheasant, 50% rattlesnake sausage when I was in Denver.
Interesting.
I had yak sausage. I had bison. I had wild boar, and what else? I don't know. It was absolutely fantastic. I had it with my buddies Travis and Matt. We were chilling at Prost, and they had a great sausage cart out front. A couple of pot smoking hippies serving sausage, Dogtown or something like that. Wonderful guys, just absolutely incredible sausages. If you're ever out in Denver, seek them out. Well worth it. Highly recommended. Between the three of us, we ate 10 sausages with the buns and everything.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And we're like, well, I'm like, we're really hungry. How about we get 5 or 6? I'm like, oh, we're going to be stuffed 2 apiece. We ate that, and then we're like, we still haven't tried the
rattlesnake.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was. Oh, it was just all so freaking good. All right, dog meat and home slice. Get distracted here. Dog meat and home slice. When working on a commercial-sized steam-jacketed brew kettle, let's say 15 barrels, do you need to worry about calcium buildup within the jacket on the kettle? Should you filter the water that is going to be boiled to reduce calcium buildup?
Yes.
There
I mean,
you go.
basically,
That's
you've
another
got
solid, detailed answer from Palmer.
Yeah, well, just so that, there's no doubt in everyone's mind. Yeah, I mean, if you really want to, invest in the longevity of that boiler or of your boiler and your brew kettle, the water that you used in your boiler should be as mineral free as possible. I mean, and the boiler maker should have given some guidelines on feed water for the boiler. Generally, low in carbonates, low in carbon dioxide. It'll have. I'm trying to think what it will have.
Sulfur.
No, it's some. Was it chlorides? I think they put some chlorides in.
Yeah.
And another. And basically, they do put some radiator fluid type stuff in there to kind of reduce the corrosivity. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, it should be a pretty mineral free water because the boiler, you'll get boiler scale building up in the boiler that's got to be dumped out and purged. And if carbonate is in the water and is turned to steam, that'll become carbon dioxide in the jacket of the boiler. It's not the boiler, the kettle. Sorry, in the kettle. If that condenses in there, then you can get pretty high concentrations of carbonic acid, and that carbonic acid will eat holes in the jacket of the kettle. So yes, you do want to take steps to filter the water, but also soften the water to get the carbonates out. And in this case, when we say soften, we mean demineralize. Get the carbonates out, especially because that's what you need to get out of there to prevent the carbon dioxide from forming.
Yeah, and I'll add to it. We have a 2 million BTU boiler, and we're not really worried about the kettle itself because it's the kettle's it's all stainless, so the jackets, things like that, it's a lot more durable and less of an issue. What the issue is the boiler itself. And like John's saying, if it gets too acidic, it can corrode the boiler. You also have oxygen. You got to worry about oxygen. So what we do is we use a water softener to provide the makeup water for the boiler, because you don't want scale to build up in the boiler and reduce the efficiency of the boiler, clog things up. And then you also we use boiler additive chemicals, and they have sulfur in there, which helps scavenge the oxygen.
That's right.
And then they also have other compounds that are added for keeping the pH high, and cost a fortune, but it's critical. So we soften water and then all these chemicals. But the concern is really, the piping that carries the steam and the boiler itself, because the brew kettle, that's, all stainless, and if we needed to, we could probably recirculate acid through the thing and eat away any calcium buildup that would form in the jackets.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, but if you get oxygen, as you say, or carbon dioxide forming in the jacket to the kettle as well, you can also get corrosion there, even though it's stainless.
Yeah, and that's but the boiler's the thing that rots out real quick,
right?
And something like that, and a lot of times the boiler is far more expensive than rejacketing a kettle, even. All right, let's see here. Why don't we take another short break? When we come back, we'll do more water questions after this.
Hi, I'm Jason Harris, the proud owner here at Keystone Homebrew Supply. We're thrilled to be entering our 20th year of supplying this great industry, and to show you, the Brewing Network Army, how much we appreciate your support, we're offering you 10% off your first order on our website, KeystoneHomebrew.com. Just use coupon code BNARMY at checkout, and I'll get your order out the same day. My goal at Keystone Homebrew Supply has always been to have a complete supply of everything a brewer could want. When you place your order online or when you come into our store, it's our goal to have everything on your list and more. One aspect of KeystoneHomebrew.com that we're really excited about is the ability to fulfill customers' exact grain bills. Do you hate to wait? Keystone Homebrew Supply can get your precious yeast and hops to you within just one day if you live between Connecticut and Virginia, and within 2 days east of the Mississippi. KeystoneHomebrew.com. Coupon code BNARMY. I'm Jason Harris, and I approve this message.
BN Army, I'm here to talk seriously for a second. You all are partially responsible for something explosive, and it's time you answer for it.
Moonlight Meadery is exploding.
Yeah, exploding across the country. Wait, they just landed in Australia with insane quality meads.
With nearly 70 different varieties of mead on the market, Moonlight Meadery has blown up the mead category and completely reinvented it.
Seriously?
What?
Seriously?
What?
You're paying money for that watered-down mead when you could have a Moonlight mead?
Moonlight meads explode with quality and flavor.
They're a party in a bottle.
Did someone say party?
If you want mead and want the best, you want meads from Moonlight Meadery and will accept nothing less.
Be a part of the BN Mead explosion and demand Moonlight Meads at your favorite bottle shop.
Moonlight Meads. Girly names, manly meads.
Hey, sign me up for that party.
One of the last things many brewers try to master is the ingredient that makes up most of their beer, water. Brewers Publications is pleased to announce Water, a comprehensive guide for brewers of all levels by How to Brew author John Palmer and professional brewer Colin Kaminsky.
Hi, I'm John Palmer. This book is the result of many years of asking the tough questions about water to professional brewers and brewing scientists, and we are very pleased with how it turned out. It's the first book that is solely about water treatment throughout the brewing process. The book is intended for all brewers, from homebrewers to professionals, and we hope you like it.
From how to read a water report to treating your wastewater and everything in between, Water is the comprehensive guide you've always wanted on brewing's least understood ingredient. Flavor contributions, water chemistry, and adjusting water to styles of beer. John and Colin will teach you everything you need to know. Water is available from brewerspublications.com and fine brewing booksellers near you. Take the mystery out of your brewing water. Visit brewerspublications.com for your copy of Water today. Are you a member of the American Homebrewers Association? Well, you should be. Members of the AHA can focus on brewing beer, and the AHA takes care of the rest. The American Homebrewers Association advocates on behalf of homebrewers like you to legalize the hobby in all 50 states and make sure that beer laws make sense. Plus, there are many great benefits that come with your AHA membership, like AHA member deals that give you awesome deals at bars, restaurants, breweries, and more. Zymergy Magazine and Zymergy for tons of articles, how-tos, easy-to-follow recipes, and news about the hobby you love, and access to the members-only content on homebrewersassociation.org. But the AHA can't do it without your support. Join today so the American Homebrewers Association can keep fighting for your homebrewing rights. Visit homebrewersassociation.org or join now from the homepage of the Brewing Network website. Relax. Don't worry. It's the American Homebrewers Association.
Williams Brewing is your online resource for prompt delivery of quality home brewing supplies. Since 1979, Williams Brewing has offered the finest equipment and the freshest ingredients, backed by the best customer service in the business. New items include the Big Oxygen Kit for economical wart aeration using common welding oxygen tanks, and the Unistat line of external thermostats for easy control of both electric heaters and refrigerators. In addition, they've just mashed their new oatmeal stout malt extract, so you can make those tasty winter oatmeal stouts and porters without mashing. Go to williamsbrewing.com today and browse their vast selection. That's williamsbrewing.com. Orders placed by 4 p.m. Pacific Time weekdays ship the same day. Brewing is easy. The Williams way.
Downtown Joe's, where everyone is welcome, especially if you like drinking and tasting beer. Head brewer Colin Kaminsky's favorite beers are the Tantric IPA and the Double Secret Probation IPA. But you'll have loads of others to choose from when you redeem your exclusive Brewing Network savings. Downtown Joe's is the best brewery destination and the hottest night spot in Napa. Colin invites all homebrewers and fans of craft beer to stop by and enjoy the great food and beer. Whether you're in the mood for riverside dining, live music, or just hanging out at the bar to meet a person of the opposite sex or a person of the same sex, Downtown Joe's has exactly what you're looking for. And now just mention the Brewing Network to receive $1 off your beer at Downtown Joe's. That's right, take $1 off every one of their great selection of craft beers, including the Lazy Summer Wheat, Golden Thistle Porter, and the Triple Dog Dare You. Come to Downtown Joe's and enjoy the laid-back atmosphere of Napa's best brew pub. Visit downtownjoes.com right now for current beers, the live music schedule, or to drool over their delicious menu items. Downtown Joe's, your neighborhood brew pub where everyone is welcome.
Back to your hosts, Jamil Zainasheff and John Palmer. Putting the testicles in technical. This is Brew Strong.
All right, we're back. Let's see here. Tony writes a question about biocides in municipal water. Hey guys, I'm trying to fix a phenolic flavor that appears especially in my lighter ales. I'm currently using potassium metabisulfite to treat my tap water to remove chlorine and chloramine. And I treat the mash and sparge with phosphoric acid to control the pH below 6, approximately 5.4 for the mash, 5.8 for the sparge. I haven't ruled out contamination by wild yeast, other organisms, but I was reviewing my water report, and there are some chemicals listed that I don't recognize. According to my little bit of research, these are biocides which interfere with DNA somehow. The 3 chemicals I don't recognize are bromochloroacetic acid, bromodichloroacetic acid, and chlorodibromoacetic acid. Will potassium metabisulfite take care of these compounds as well? Am I better off buying spring water? Of course, I won't know the components, or filtering the tap beforehand.
Yeah, he's talking about the haloacetic acids, HAA5. They're a common water disinfection byproduct, and they do have some effects on beer flavor. Typically in a water supply from the city, they would be below threshold. Because they do take pains to monitor those. However, maybe in this, I don't know if, maybe in this case, he got a notice from the city saying that, hey, the HAA5s are over threshold and you may taste them. I don't know.
He says he's reviewing his water report, though, so it sounds like he didn't.
Not a notice,
right? I don't think that's doesn't sound like the issue. But he's using potassium metabisulfite. Take care of those compounds as well. I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think
that's the issue either.
No, I don't think so either.
I mean, it's I haven't ruled out wild yeast or other microorganisms. Well, why don't you? That's your first step right there, dude. Tony, for God's sakes, have you learned nothing on this show? Yes.
Clean, and then sanitize.
Right.
But that is probably the answer. the metabisulfite shouldn't have anything to do with it. And I doubt he's getting, chlorophenols building up that would also could make that same kind of phenolic flavor.
Mm-hmm.
Could be yeast stress too. Of his normal brewer strain.
Yeah, but without the gene to produce the phenolic flavors, I mean, you wouldn't think that that's necessarily going to be an issue.
Yeah.
So I would think that it's got to be something else. But an easy thing to do is to do a forced wort test, before you pitch your yeast and see if you're getting any fermentation or phenolic flavors from that. And then it could be the pitch of yeast. Some people get depends on what the source of that is. I don't know, but you say probably not on these.
Right, the metabisulfite is not a sanitizer. The reason we recommend it for adding to mash water, brewing water, is because it's very effective at chemically reducing the chlorides, the chlorine and chloramine in the water that's used as residual disinfectant. The chlorine would typically boil off during the heating of the water, first strike, but chloramine doesn't. Mm-hmm. And so adding a metabisulfite tablet will clean that up. It'll chemically reduce it from chlorine and chloramine to chloride and sulfate.
Well, and my favorite thing is, if he just used a carbon filter, he'd remove that and he'd remove these other things as well. They would also be removed by a carbon filter. So, right?
As I found out at my recent MBA conference, carbon filters are pretty good at reducing the chlorine to chloride. They do that in a chemical reduction reaction, but removal of other organics such as the HAA5 or other pesticides, biocides, whatever, they're in the water, that takes a longer empty bed contact time, somewhere in the order of like half an hour. So you got to run it through there really slow.
It depends on the carbon, right? The type of carbon, the format of the carbon.
Types of carbon, types of organic you're trying to remove.
The just cheap-ass thing like the Brita filters and all that. Probably not, but you get a good. There's all sorts of different grades of carbon that some much more effective at the organics than others, right?
Right. Yeah. Basically, if you're a brewery and have contracted to have a carbon filter installed, then you've got a system that's been designed for your water usage. Whereas if you go to Home Depot and get the home unit and put it in, you're probably not getting rid of as much as you hope to, because it probably doesn't have the sheer amount of carbon in it to give the time for the water, for those contaminants to be absorbed by the carbon.
Chris from Australia writes, in the Water Revisited show, John states, this is from May 13th, 2013. John states that the optimum pH range for mashing is 5.2 to 5.6 at room temperature, and then mentions that the enzymes work better at higher pH levels, but this leads to a harsher bitterness from hops during the boil. One, what does work better mean in this context? Yeah, you're going to need to be more precise, John. What does this work better? Faster?
No. This
higher
keeps
conversion?
People writing in with questions.
Yeah, half answer results in 10 more questions. What does this mean in this context? Faster, higher conversion, or both, or something else? And his second part of his question is, what do you think about mashing at a higher pH, then acidifying the wort in the kettle down to the optimum pre-boil pH before adding the first hops?
Okay, well, that's a dumb idea.
answering the question or doing half an answer? Huh? I think Chris has you here.
I have a question. Okay, what do I mean by better? Well, the enzymes work better. They work faster at higher pH. Their synergy is a little better at closer to pH 6 than they are, say, down around 5.2 to 5.6. But I'm talking, 1%, 2%, 5%, somewhere in there. I'm talking small differences. I would have been better off just not mentioning it. The problem with mashing at higher temperatures and then trying to acidify the wort afterwards is that you're acidifying the wort. You're adding, some chemical, whether it's phosphoric acid, lactic acid, or extra calcium and magnesium or something to bring that pH down, rather than just, mashing at the correct range and getting a good tasting wort out of that'll convert in, say 45 minutes versus 40 minutes. Not that big a difference for a lot of extra work in trying to, keep the pH higher than drive it lower after the fact. I mean, there's no real benefit to you as a brewer in trying to mash higher than acidify. If you're trying to do it to get higher hop utilization, what we've explained in the water book is that you don't simply get higher hop utilization, higher hop bitterness. You also get a different bitterness. You get a coarser bitterness out of the hop. Colin states that, and other brewers have stated that it's like you're brewing with a different hop. It's not the same. It's not equivalent to, say, just adding more, Citra or Columbus to the batch. It's like you're brewing with a different hop altogether.
Mm-hmm. All right. There's your answer, Chris. All right, let's take another quick break, and we'll be back right after this.
That's right, folks.
When I order a beer, I want my server to know more about it than I do. I want someone who enjoys good beer and loves helping others enjoy it too. I want someone who knows how to pour a perfect pint for any beer style. I want a Cicerone. The Cicerone certification program is creating the type of people who help you enjoy great beer. Home brewers and craft beer lovers know beer is more flavorful and complex than ever, and it takes some serious knowledge to store and serve beer right. Cicerones know beer. There are 3 levels in the Cicerone program: Certified Beer Server, Certified Cicerone, and Master Cicerone. Cicerones are truly the sommeliers of beer. The best beer locations have a certified Cicerone on staff. Relaxed and unpretentious, Cicerones are tested on storing and serving beer, beer styles, flavor and tasting, the brewing process and ingredients, and pairing food with beer. Learn more about your next beer guide at cicerone.org. Certified Cicerone, because it takes top talent to present a perfect pint.
Tonight is the night.
We bring the creature to life, Dr. Blickmanstein?
Yes, J.P. Gore. Everything is perfect for my next fermented creation.
But, Doctor, the storm is too far away. We'll never have enough power to isomerize the creature's alpha acid.
Yes, J.P. Gore, we will. For I have in my possession the Tower of Power.
Blickman's new Tower of Power is the evolution of automation. Control hot liquor, sparge, and mash temps like a pro. The Tower of Power is a high-quality gas-fired rim system that works with your current brewing setup. With ultra-precision, the tower can hold your mash to 1/2 of a degree Fahrenheit. Precision and repeatability. The Tower of Power is the answer to automatic, fast ramp times. See more at BlickmanEngineering.com. Bring your next creation to life with the Tower of Power.
Dr. Blickmanstein, with the Tower of Power, you can probably give me an afternoon at the pub to enjoy a pint.
Don't be silly, J.P. Gore. We have beer to brew.
Hi, I'm Jamil Zainasheff, and in addition to my work on the Brewing Network, I write the Style Profile column in every issue of Brew Your Own magazine.
Hi, I'm Sean Paxton, and when I'm not prepping for the Homebrewed Chef on the Brewing Network, you can find me writing articles on how to cook with your homebrew for Brew Your Own magazine.
Greetings, cretins. This is John Palmer, and when I'm not writing for Brew Your Own, I'm reading it.
John Palmer, Sean Paxton, Jamil Zainasheff. If you love listening to them on the Brewing Network, you'll love reading their articles, tips, and recipes in the pages of Brew Your Own magazine. Join Jamil, John, and Sean 8 times a year in Brew Your Own. And when you subscribe to BYO on the Brewing Network website, half of your subscription price goes right back to the BN to support great beer and food programming. So sign up for Brew Your Own magazine through the BN website today so you can listen and read your way to better homebrew. A few things happened 30 years ago.
ARPANET migrated to TCP/IP, and the Internet was born. Revenge of the Jedi was renamed Return of the Jedi and opened in theaters. Mila Kunis and Emily Blunt were born, beginning a rad fantasy in my mind.
But all of that pales next to the fact that HopTech opened its doors and began blowing homebrewers right out of their mash tuns. HopTech doesn't fuck around. Real people shipping awesome shit straight to you. Their new website is fast and easy to navigate. Or just call 800-379-4677 and let badass bitch Jade and Brewing brother Roberto blow their warm load of customer service all over you. So visit the site or visit the store in Dublin, California, and support those that support you. Get your brewing on at hoptech.com.
Back to the beer guys that make other beer guys look like wine guys. Brew Strong.
All right. We're taking them in and pounding them out.
That's right.
Just reminds me of our fine sponsor, Adam and Eve. Taking them in and pounding them out. Yeah.
That's right.
Check them out, adamandeve.com. For a limited time only, if you go to adamandeve.com and use the offer code JAMIL, Jamil, you're going to get 50% off of just about any one item you purchase. And with that, they're going to give you 3 free adult DVDs of your choosing. You get to choose from genres such as anal, amateur, Asian, big butts, MILFs, Muppets, soulless gingers, all sorts of stuff. And then they're going to give you a free extra gift, and they're going to give you free shipping on the whole thing. So you use the offer code Jamil. You get 50% off an item. That's the only thing you're buying. This one item at half price. And then you get the 3 free DVDs. You get the free extra gift, and you get free shipping. Amazing. It's quite the deal. They want you to come and give it a try, and come and give it a try. Give it a try and come. Yeah, it's a good one. All right. But check them out, adamandeve.com. They even have a mobile site, so you can go in you can be checking it out from your phone. You know, next time you go to the bathroom, lock the door, pull out the phone, check out the adamandeve.com. All right. Justin writes, I have been using 5.2 pH buffer when people take a moment to proofread your damn questions. I've been using 5.2 pH buffer when do my mash. This seemed work better with pale beers.
Maybe he did proofread. He's just Asian.
Right. No, I don't know. I'm making it a little worse than it actually is. Any red or brown ales seem to have a funny aftertaste. I want to take my brewing to the next level. Can you comment on this 5.2 pH buffer, whether it's even worth using or if it's a great product? I'm still working on getting a water report, but I live in Russell, Manitoba, Canada. America's hat.
Okay, yes. Well.
Seems to work. He's using 5.2. Seems to work better with pale beers. Any red or brown ales seem to have a funny aftertaste.
Well, I don't know whether to lay the blame on 5.2.
I think you should take the blame yourself.
Yeah.
It's John's fault.
It's my fault for recommending that people brew red and brown beers.
Yeah.
Here's my position on 5.2. I don't recommend it. Why? Because if you understand water, if you can get a water report and look at the mineral levels and understand the concept of residual alkalinity, how that's going to drive your mash pH, and make either salt additions or acid additions or RO water additions and measure your mash pH and get in the right range, then you don't need 5.2. In other words, you don't need to apply a Band-Aid that can and does have a off flavor associated with it at high concentrations. You don't need to put this in your beer if you understand water. Now, I understand that a lot of people haven't been able to understand water yet and want to use 5.2 to help them get into the right mash pH range. And if you can brew beers such as pale beers and you like them with 5.2's help, then great.
Well, let me put it for you in some other words that people will understand here, John.
Okay.
So your fat load, and a company comes out with a pill that you can take that's going to make you less of a fat load. You take that pill, and maybe it helps, maybe it doesn't. And, you do it because you're a fat load, and you think that this is going to help, and it's the easy way out. In reality, what you need to do is exercise, watch what you eat, stuff like that. Now, I can speak because I'm a fat load, but I do know that by taking that pill, it's not going to do me any good. I need to do the hard work.
That's right.
So, John, what you're saying is, instead of falling for the easy way out that may or may not help in this case, I'm sure it works for it's not a horrible product or anything. It's an easy way to get you close to what you want to do, but may or may not be the best solution in all cases. The best
especially
solution
if you're trying to take your beer to the next level.
Yeah, the best solution is doing the hard work, doing the exercise, eating the right vegetables, things like that. Stop sucking on the lard popsicles. Go with the
put down that bag of Chips Ahoy.
Put down the Chips Ahoy. Pick up a copy of the water book that Colin and John just wrote, and do put the exercise in, put the work in, understand. What chapters in the water book should people read, John, to get them off the crutch of using a buffer system like this? What is there, like a single chapter that if they just read that, maybe they'd be able to make some adjustments?
Chapter 7 is all about adjusting water for style.
Mm-hmm. You got to read the whole damn thing, don't you? You got to read every freaking page in the book. Is that what you're saying?
I would say chapters 4, 5, 6, and 7.
4,
maybe 4,
5,
and 7.
6, 7, 8. Should we go 1 through 20?
Now,
do we need to read the introduction?
Just 2 chapters to read.
Uh-huh.
I would read chapter 15 in How to Brew, and then chapter 7 in Water.
Well, there you go.
And read those 2 chapters on the exercise bike.
Right, while you're sucking on a lard popsicle. Absolutely. Okay. All right. Well, I think, I think, I've known some people that have used the 5.2, and their beers turn out fine. But I think what you're saying is, it's not always going to be the best solution for you. The best solution is not a miracle cure. It's, doing the hard work. And it's not that hard of work. You've done the hard work in writing the book. They just need to read that, maybe a couple of times to fully understand it, and then go down that road. So your first step, buy a copy of How to Brew if you haven't. Your second step, buy a copy of the water book if you haven't. Read chapter 15 in How to Brew. Read chapter 7 in the water book. You'll be well on your way. It's much easier than you think. think the problem people have had with water in the past is they over-adjust their water, and that's where all the horrible things happen. All right. Another quick question here. Ricardo writes, a technical question. I use the brew in a bag method. I live in Munich, thus brew with Munich water. Munich water has sufficient calcium and magnesium, but per calculations, when Munich water is boiled and cooled down, the calcium and magnesium precipitate as carbonate salts. Calculations indicate almost all calcium, magnesium, and carbonate precipitates. So if I just transfer all but the bottom water to another container, I can almost start from zero, adding gypsum and or calcium chloride and or magnesium chloride to the now soft water. The two-part question: what happens if I boil the water, let it cool, but leave the precipitate in the pot? Will this precipitate stay in the bottom throughout the boil and fermentation, or will it go partially or totally back into solution? What happens if I do not boil the water, but just the regular mash and boil? Wouldn't the calcium and magnesium precipitate with the carbonate? Or will it stay in solution partially or totally because of the pH? By the way, I adjust my mashes to 5.2 to 5.3 with lactic or citric acid. Not very reinheitsgebot, I admit. Thanks so much in advance.
Okay, well, this is a good question. We're dealing with a couple issues. One, decarbonation by boiling, and then decarbonation by just heating. When you heat the water to strike temperature, you are reducing the amount of carbon dioxide that can be dissolved in that water. So the carbon dioxide is going to coalesce. It's going to create large bubbles. If you agitate that water, the carbon dioxide will boil out. It'll fizz. Maybe you've seen this in your hot liquor tanks when you're heating it up to strike temperature. You're looking at it. You give it a stir with your mash paddle, and all of a sudden it fizzes, and some gas comes off. Well, that's that carbon dioxide. As soon as you do that, you get micro precipitation of calcium carbonate and magnesium carbonate, but it's micro precipitation. It's not gonna settle out. It'll settle out if you then cool the water and let it settle overnight. Then you'll get a fine film of it on the bottom, depending on how much there's there. But if you just proceed to your mash, a lot of that will go back into solution. It participates in the residual alkalinity relationship. So you will have higher alkalinity than if you had allowed it to settle out overnight. He sent along a water report that said, among other things, that he had 75 ppm of calcium and about 240 ppm of bicarbonate. So 240 ppm of bicarbonate is similar to like 220 of total alkalinity as calcium carbonate. So, and if you do an equivalent balance of how many equivalents of calcium will react with how many equivalents of bicarbonate, you'd find that after boiling and decanting, your final mineral concentration in the boiled and decanted water would be about 20 parts per million of calcium, which is not enough to have a good brew with, and still 120 parts per million of bicarbonate, which is more than you want. So in essence, what I'm saying is that boiling, decanting is not a really good solution here, because you end up with less calcium and still relatively high levels of bicarbonate. So what should he do if he wants to use this water? Well, you could dilute it with RO water to cut your bicarbonate levels to half or a third by diluting with 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 with RO water, or you could simply add more calcium, such as the calcium chloride or calcium sulfate, to the water ahead of time, and then stir, and you will still get the calcium carbonate precipitate, but because you've added more calcium to the water, you're able to precipitate more bicarbonate out of the water. Right now, the water as is, it's bicarbonate heavy, and so after decarbonation, you still have quite a bit of alkalinity left over. If you add more calcium and magnesium ahead of time, these will now become more of a 1-to-1, and he can get a better decarbonation and clarification of the water that way.
Yeah.
Make sense to you?
Of course.
I said, in your estimation, did I say that clearly enough for our audience to understand?
You want me to do another fat popsicle?
Please.
Just joke? All right. No. What we need is one last real quick break, and then we'll wrap up the show right after this.
A vial of White Labs yeast is the key to your best beer. When you open a vial of White Labs yeast, you're giving your beer its best chance for a perfect fermentation. In addition to their already incredible variety of yeasts, White Labs is proud to announce WLP90, San Diego's super yeast, now available year-round. WLP90 is super clean, super fast fermenting, with low esters and has a neutral flavor and aroma profile. It's alcohol tolerant and highly flocculent. For more of the latest White Labs news, click over to whitelabs.com, where you can read reviews of yeast, learn in the lab section, and join the customer club. And if you should find yourself in San Diego, White Labs has a brand new training facility for craft brewers and home brewers alike. whitelabs.com. Discover yeast, nutrients, enzymes, and more for commercial breweries, home brewers, and homebrew stores. White Labs. It's all in the vial.
Hi, this is John from Grain and Grape. We've been supplying brewers in Australia for over 20 years, and for all that time we've been working to offer the best products and service around, including free fortnightly all-grain brewing demos, 90 varieties of malted grain from Belgium, Germany, the US, Britain and Australia, equipment from brewmasters, kegerators, beer engines from Crown Urns to the humble brew in a bag, heaps of hops, wye yeast liquid and Fermentus and Danstar dried yeast cultures, fresh wort kits made on the 500-litre Brewmaster right here in the warehouse. We also sponsor and support brewing clubs and comps, the Australian National Home Brewing Conference, Aussie Homebrewer Forum, and heaps more. Mostly, though, 100 years of brewing experience means that we can give you the best advice on your next recipe, your new system, or that brewing problem that needs a solution. Mention the Brewing Network next time you order online or by phone to receive half-price shipping. Check out grainandgrape.com.au for conditions.
One of the last things many brewers try to master is the ingredient that makes up most of their beer, water. Brewers Publications is pleased to announce Water, a comprehensive guide for brewers of all levels by How to Brew author John Palmer and professional brewer Colin Kaminsky.
Hi, I'm John Palmer. This book is the result of many years of asking the tough questions about water to professional brewers and brewing scientists, and we are very pleased with how it turned out. It's the first book that is solely about water treatment throughout the brewing process. The book is intended for all brewers, from homebrewers to professionals, and we hope you like it.
From how to read a water report to treating your wastewater and everything in between, Water is the comprehensive guide you've always wanted on brewing's least understood ingredient, flavor contributions, water chemistry, and adjusting water to styles of beer. John and Colin will teach you everything you need to know. Water is available from brewerspublications.com and fine brewing booksellers near you. Take the mystery out of your brewing water. Visit brewerspublications.com for your copy of Water today. All right, BN Army, it's trivia time. What's the only homebrew shop with over 1,000 recipe kits, $4.99 shipping on orders over $100, and is also home of the Wolf shirt? The one and only answer is Austin Homebrew Supply. For over 20 years, they've specialized in creating recipes such as the best-selling Texas Blonde Ale, Apocalypso, Hop Bomb 2.0, and Double Chocolate Stout. And they just recently unveiled their small grain kits that produce 1 gallon of beer. Visit austinhomebrew.com to browse their extensive catalog of equipment and ingredients. They also have mini clone recipes of your favorite commercial beers. They're the exclusive retailer of Brew Vent Yeast Fuel as well, Yeast Nutrient, and the all-new Bodybuilder. Follow Austin Homebrew Supply on Google Plus to participate in video hangouts on popular brewing topics. So visit austinhomebrew.com today and make sure you sign up for their weekly email with news and specials. Austin Homebrew Supply, austinhomebrew.com.
has never been so disgusting. This is Brew Strong.
I don't know why our show would be considered disgusting.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about it too.
I mean, maybe some of the things I say are disgusting.
The lard popsicle? That was
disgusting.
A little disgusting.
Yes. I called all our listeners fat loads.
They are disgusting in that case.
Right.
Yeah.
So there you go.
We're just telling it like it is.
Yeah, exactly. We're all disgusting. Well, I think that this was a great show, and I think that we're gonna, where we can, I think we group the Q&A questions together for kind of a mini topic. I think it's kind of a nice way to go.
I think so too.
And we've got a few questions left, but we're out of time. And what I'm thinking is, all you folks listening, if we didn't answer your water question, send in your water question. Send it to brewstrong@thebrewingnetwork.com, and we'll lump it into another water show. We'll do, every time we get topics like this, and if you got questions around another topic, send them in. Yeast or, whatever it might be, malts, hops, some certain process. I'm going to keep looking through them and grouping them together, and I think we'll have a good chance there. And then if you want to listen live, then Scott can get your feedback and questions as well. We got anything that we wanted to mention here, Scott?
Yeah, Spider Wrangler made a comment in the chat from a topic from a couple segments ago. He said a 2006 study on HAAs found that boiling and storing, or storing without boiling, had no effects on levels, but home filtering, like a Brita, reduces levels by 66%.
Well, there you go. And I imagine an even better quality carbon, longer contact time can reduce it even more. I think, but I got to think that problem is coming from somewhere else, most likely.
Yeah.
If it's
not water related,
safe levels. A lot of people are brewing with that stuff in the water, so there you go. It's probably rotting your liver out, but you're probably not tasting it. There you go. All right, another fine show. If you're listening live, stay tuned. We're going to do another Q&A topic show right after this, so lots of fun coming up. If you want to keep the fun going, check out our great sponsors. Check out BlickmanEngineering.com. Go there and check out all their fine goodies. And speaking of fine goodies, browse by Adam and Eve as well. More fine goodies in the Brewing Network store. There's lots of books. There's the water book. You can get that from the Brewing Network store. TheBrewingNetwork.com/store.
What about extra cycles? Can you get those at the BN store?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. You get more magic boner pills probably, there as well. And books and hats and hoodies and glassware and growlers and just so many good things that when you buy those things, you get a cool item because they've all been vetted by the Brewing Network crack staff, and it goes to the bottom line of the Brewing Network, so check it out. Really helps keep shows like this on the air. Till then, brew strong, everybody.
Brew strong.